Welcome back to Trifecta Airsoft Podcast. I'm your host, E-Rock. This episode is sponsored by Skirmish, Airsoft Connected. It's also sponsored by Hefe's Airsoft Solutions, a company that puts the airsoft community first. Thank you everyone for being here. Let's get to the podcast.
Yeah, mine has this headset that I bought is the one that you recommended.
Oh.
It's got the little knob right. Yeah, like here to kill it. You can pause it so you can mute it.
Oh, dude, I love these things.
Yeah, and it's not too bad. Now, my buddy gave me another set, and they were great. They're comfortable, nice foam. But I was using them, and all of a sudden, there's nothing in the left ear. And I'm like, what's going on? And you move it a little bit, you get some sound. Oh. So it's got a loose wire or something. I said, screw it, I'm not going to mess around with it. So, is it one of the headphone jack setups? Yeah. See, those are real finicky. The ones when we started our videos, we did the recorders, those little tiny recorders. Mm-hmm. They're with the plug-in mics. So we had the lavalier mics, or you could just use it by itself. But we were using that, and it's the same thing. It's that little 3.5 millimeter whatever port, and if you don't have it pushed all the way in, there's 2 or 3 different lines, cutouts. The different channels, yeah.
And if it's not pushed in all the way, or if it's real, I mean, the thing has to be perfectly made and perfectly set in there for it to work, and it wears out quick. So they're not the greatest.
Yeah, I think we're solid with what we got here.
Yeah. Dude.
Hey, I got to tell you a story. My buddy called me up, and it was about 10 after 11. He said, hey, let's go to lunch. And I'm like, well, I'm up at 5 o'clock, so 11:30, that could be lunch. Takes us about 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in a booth, and there's this large group of guys that are sitting over here. I guess they're got out of work or whatever. They're working on the road. They had the orange jackets on. They're basically taking up one side of the restaurant. So you got to walk around right by our booth. So my buddy's sitting be facing that way, and this group of young kids I call them kids, but they're probably in their 20s. And what struck me was the one young man came in there, and he had sweats on, and he had a white muscle shirt, and he had a chamois hat on. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's leather with the wool on the inside. Looks like a boonie hat. Almost reminds me of a sun hat, but it's floppy, and it's leather with the wool sticking on it. And I'm like, it's the most funny looking thing you ever saw. And he has his pants pulled down so far, you can see most of his underwear. And these are sweats. So my buddy's talking to me, and I can see this coming, and I'm like, I'm not saying nothing. He walks by my buddy. My buddy breaks out laughing, and he's got one of these loud, infectious laughs. Yeah. And he says to me so loud, hey, did you see that? The kid turns around and looks at him. He said, oh, you made my day. That's the most fun I had laughing at somebody. And the guy's giving us daggers the rest of the meal there. He's across the way in a booth looking at us, and he's giving us the evil eye all the while we're eating there. And my buddy is just laughing and pointing at him, and I'm like, yeah. Hey, it's his God-given right to wear whatever he wants to wear, but it's also our God-given right to look at him and point.
It is, yeah. It always cracks me up because I really thought that was done with, that trend.
Yeah. The one guy came out to the airsoft field here, and he's wearing flip-flops, and he's got his pants down. And I said, well, are you playing today? He said, yeah. I said, well, not in the flip-flops, you're not. He said, oh, I might have a pair of sneakers in the car. I said, well, you really should have some kind of good footwear. Oh, these are good sneakers, he tells me. He puts the sneakers on. He comes back. His pants are still down quite a bit. And everybody tells me the look this kid gave me when I did it. I walked over to him, grabbed 2 belt loops, and pulled his pants up. I said, there you go, you're ready to go. They said the shocked look on this kid's face when I did that, and you know what? He never pulled them down the rest of the day. He played all day, and I'm like, and ever since he's come back, he never had them pulled down like that again.
There you go.
But I'm like, it just, I didn't want him because, he has the pants pulled down, all his pants legs are like bunching on his shoes. He'll trip
Yeah,
and fall and kill himself. Safety issue. That's the way I looked
for
at it.
sure.
But I'm like, I don't know. I just couldn't help myself. That was bad. I did the same thing with the guy came with the hat backwards.
Yeah.
He's not even backwards. It's like off to the side.
Side to it. Yeah.
And he's talking to me and talking to me and talking to me. I said, wait a minute. I reached over and I grabbed his hat and went like this. I said, okay, now continue talking. And the kid's like, what happened? What happened? I'm like, I'm sorry. Your hat was distracting me. Put it the right way so I can talk to you. Now, I don't care if somebody wants to wear it backwards. That's fine. But this is like that 45 degree, like it's not on, it's not off. Looks like something hit your head. And I'm like,
they take the hat. They don't actually, they don't take the time to they're just like this.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, they weren't taught personal hygiene, like how to dress and how clothes are supposed to be worn. I don't know.
My dad always used to say to me when he'd see somebody with their hat like that, he said he's either drunk or somebody just got done smacking him. That's the only reason why his hat's sideways. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got a good story for you to relate if you want to go listen to it.
I do, of course. First off, welcome, man. Welcome back, dude. It's been a while.
Well, I'll tell you what, the winter's been interesting, to say the least. End of May, I'm scheduled to get surgery on my right shoulder.
Oh, shit.
End of June, I'm scheduled to get a new knee.
Damn.
So, shoulder, they said I'm going to be out for like 6 weeks or so. And, the doctor says, you have good mobility because, I have a tendon that's torn and I have one that's ripped.
Damn.
So, I stretch it a lot. So I have mobility now.
Okay.
It hurts a little bit there, but I can get it up because I've been stretching it. Now, he said, you can let it go, but he said it's starting to get worse. And he said it's going to start hurting more and more and more. Let's repair it. And it's one of them laparoscopic surgeries. You just go in there and bang, bang, and he's done.
Yeah.
He said, be in there, nothing flat, outpatient, and then I go home. So I'm like, oh, cool. Now, the knee guy is talking to me about some kind of new style knee. It's not metal like they used to make. And because my leg was shattered, it's some kind of polymer or whatever. He was explaining it to me. And the old way they used to do the knee, they put the post down inside the leg bone. That's the old style.
Right.
This one is going to be some kind of clamp-on thing that it clamps on the bone on the bottom, and then it grows into the bone. But it's supposed to be some kind of not metal. It's like a composite something. Yeah. And I said, "Gonna have Iron Man legs." That's like the one guy was telling me. He said, "You're gonna have Iron Man legs." I'm like, "Okay," but
that's wild.
I figured I'm gonna be pretty much shot after June. That's gonna be done for me for a while till I get everything back to shape.
Yeah, by the time you start getting healed up, it's going to start getting kind of rainy and cold, and that doesn't go well with those kind of things.
So I'm lining up all the open plays that I can go to. They're like, I got 3 games in April, in May. I'm actually taking pictures at an event, and then there's 3 more open plays I'm going to try to get to. And then probably, that's it, as much as I can get. But
yeah,
the first event of the season was in the middle of March. It's called Apocalypse 7 down in Skirmish Paintball USA. It's out of Albrightsville in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Supposedly there was 365 total people there that day.
That's good.
Well, the week before, it's in the 50s. Well, I look at the forecast and it says, it's going to be in the 40s that day. And I said, well, that ain't too bad. Well, this is about an hour and 15 minutes south.
Okay.
And an hour and 15 minutes south equals 10 degrees in our area.
Okay.
So instead of being high 40s, it's high 30s. Oof. So we started the day off in like the 20s. It's overcast. The wind is really blowing, and it's a wind chill, and it's in the 20s. So that's the day. The only positive thing about it is the open areas of the field that we played on are clear. the woods was completely covered with snow, and there was quite a bit of snow out in the woods. So
Yeah.
this is our day that we're playing. So we get there, and I have 3 layers on, and I put my BDU jacket on. I'm wearing Woodland that day, and I'm like, I go outside, and I'm like, boy, that wind's just cutting right through me. So I go put the winter coat on. But you can't wear the winter coat because it's black, and black is the tan side. Tan had black and a couple other different colors. So I can't wear the winter coat, so I have to just call it good.
Oh shit!
So we had the briefing, which was funny because there's all these people out there for the briefing. Then pretty soon, some people left, and some more people left, and some more people left. I'm like, we got thinned down to nothing because it was so damn cold standing out there listening to this guy tell us the briefing that we knew everything about.
Oh,
but anyway,
funny. I've seen a bunch of memes on that too.
Yeah, it's like there's 365 people here, and I'm looking around. I said, not out here. There's not. But we got ready,
Nice.
and for the day, I was running a 30 caliber. I was one of 2 support gunners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem is the guy with the second support gun, it broke down as soon as he got there. It was done. So I'm the only one on our squad. Now, my mindset is my 30 caliber that I have is HPA, but it's based on a 1917, 1919 FN30. Well,
oh, nice.
1917 shot 600 rounds per minute. The 1919 shot 660 rounds per minute. So that's I figure 11 rounds per second. So that's what I set my HPA engine to shoot.
Yeah.
11 rounds per second. I added a little Loudner spot on the end of the barrel so it gives it a putt-putt sound when it shoots. It's more menacing looking than it is actually nasty.
Yeah, like the, what are those, baffles or whatever they call them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. I think I got a picture. Oh, shit, I hit the wrong king.
Isn't that the one that we went over before when you were on? I had you on for a couple of them. We did a gun show. And we were going through a lot of your guns. Is this the one that you made? This is like the one from Terminator?
Yeah, well, that one is an AHE. This one here is actually HPA.
Okay.
And shit, I'm looking for the damn. See, when I look for something, I should have had this up.
Oh, it's fine. You'll find it.
Yeah, no doubt, and I'm actually looking for it right now, and I can't find the damn thing. When I want to find the damn thing, I can't.
That's how it always is.
Let's see here. I think this is the picture. Where is it? There it is. All right. Now we get back to this screen. Let's see, and this is a share your screen. All right, let me see if I can.
Let's do it.
Can you see that?
Yep, came right up for me. Oh, dude.
That's the one I'm running. If you look at that, Eric, it's actually backwards because the way I wear it on my right hip. So the box mag is on the wrong side, which people call me out on too. They'll say, hey, the box mag's feeding from the wrong side. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but this is airsoft. So it's HB8, and that's what I'm running. So
that's badass, bro. Now, is that is this one of the ones you made, custom made, like a while ago?
Yeah, I got it made out. This originally came from a guy called Mr. Minigun. He made the shell, and he put a P90 in it. Well, the P90 never fed that great. It had a high rate of fire. The box mag never could keep up. So I sent it off to Rudy at Bingo Airsoft, and he fixed it all up, put the HPA engine in it, fixed the box mag so it could run high speed, even though I don't run high speed.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's see. And then go back to this. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of that. Okay.
So now, is that body
all
plastic?
Polymer.
Like, yeah,
all
right.
Polymer. Yeah,
it looks heavy, but it's not.
Yeah, he did the brushed silver on it, and I'm holding it like this. And the guy walks up to me. He said, "You going to carry that all day?" I said, "Here, hold us a minute while I do something." And he picks it up, and he's like, "Oh shit, that weighs nothing." And I'm like, that everybody gets a kick out of that.
It's funny.
Now, so this is what I'm using for the day. It's slung over across. So I got my right hand in the back holding the trigger. And even though it has the grip on the front, usually I just hold underneath it or, put the bipod on something and then I'm back here holding the box mag and I'm shooting like this.
Yeah.
So we start walking across this big field to go, and the game started, it went from 12 to 6, then from 6:30 to 12, the night game.
Gotcha.
I wasn't going to do the night game because I can't see for shit in the dark. So anyway, we start walking across the field, and we call it all out. And the big thing was the rate of fire limit for the day for LMGs was 35 rounds per second.
Gotcha.
And the joule limit was 1.82 for them. And the normal guys were 1.55 joules, which is about 450 with 2 O's. And the LMGs were about 450 with 2 O's.
Gotcha.
So I'm shooting that, and he chronoed mine, and I'm shooting 142 joules. So I'm even less than the assault guys are shooting. That just shows you, like, I don't need FPS. I have the range, and I don't need all these BBs going out because I still can hit the guys.
Yeah.
So we go out on the field. And this is about 11:30. We start going out so we can get there for the start of the game. So we go back to our control point or command point, and we put all our stuff there. And I had brought like 4 bottles of BBs with me because that's 3,000 rounds each fill up in that box mag.
Gotcha.
So the game goes to start, and our sniper team went out. They go out early. 2 guys on our team, they were going out trying to find stuff and harass the enemy. So our commander for the day, and we found out later this is his first time commanding a team.
Okay.
He says, I need your squad, your squad, your squad, three big squads, because we had 12 guys in our squad. Ours was the smallest of the 3 squads going out. One guy, there's max was 20 per squad. This team had 18, this team had 20, we had 12. So he said, we need you 3 squads to go down there, capture the town. Okay, that's fine. That's great. So we're going down there. We're just like going in a line. The whole pile of us going like this. And all of a sudden we say contact 12 o'clock. They're already in the town. The TAN team just hauled ass and already got into the town.
Right.
They've got a ways to get there, so they must have booked it to try to get there. We were walking. We weren't going fast. So we say we're going to take the middle. One team branches off to our 9 o'clock. One team branches off to our 3, and they're going to flank around. Good strategy.
Right.
So right away, my guys are moving up. I plant behind a set of logs, the bipod up there, and I'm lacing the shit out of people as they're moving forward. And I'm like Overwatch, so they can get forward.
Yeah.
So then I say I'm moving, and when I say I'm moving, that means everybody's got to shoot because keeper doesn't go that fast. So everybody starts shooting. I get up to where the front line where the guys are there, and they're behind like a brush pile with a couple of pallets that are like placed there.
Yeah.
So I post up, and I can see the guys in the town in the second story in a couple of buildings. So I start peppering them. Pretty soon I see all kind of hands going up as I'm shooting. And this poor bastard out front, he ran toward us. I don't know why. And he got past his guys so they couldn't met him. And he's out there all by himself. And he just kept getting shot all the time. We're yelling to him, lay down, because he's like sitting right in the way with his dead rag on. And we're like, lay down, get out of the way. So I'm shooting. All of a sudden, one of my teammates says they're drawing fire from the 9 o'clock side. I'm like, what the hell? What happened to the team over there? They're all dead. So now I'm firing 12 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I'm just back and forth like this. Someone yells like, they're moving. So then I'm suppressing this side. And then they're saying, oh, they're coming up from the town. And I move back this way. And my buddy on the right-hand side says, Don, we're pulling fire from the 3 o'clock position. I'm like, okay, now I'm firing this way. We're firing 3 ways. I said, what happened to the team over there? They're all walking back. They're all dead. So I get hit. Medic pulls me back. Got to put the armband on. I'm good to go. I actually crawled, which is funny for me. I actually crawled up to where this was again, posted up. They were trying to do a push on the 12. I took them out. There's a bunch of group coming off on the 3 o'clock. I slide over this way. I start shooting at them. I get a whole bunch of guys. All the hands are going up. They're yelling at me that there's guys coming in on the 9 o'clock. I turn around. I take like 5 BBs right in the face.
Oh, shit.
They pull me back again. They put the armband. They give me another armband. So I'm like, I can't move up again. They're just pulling fire there. So I get behind these 2 big trees. They're real close together. Yeah. I don't want to put the 30 caliber between them because you don't have enough pivot point. So I'm going on this side, picking it up, and going on this side. And like I'm sort of blocked from the 12 o'clock, so I'm shooting a 9 and a 3, and I'm just moving back and forth like this, picking the gun up and back like this. I get nailed again from the back. From the back. 2 of my guys in the back that were behind us were shooting to the 3 and the 9 o'clock. They said, they're behind us. They're at our 6. They're behind us. Well, I got hit, turn around, and look, there's a whole crap load of guys coming down on us. I look back, almost all my guys are dead except one poor bastard. He's like behind a tree with a pallet in front of him. He's squeezed in there, trying not to get hit. The BBs are all around him. Pretty soon his hand goes up. Our medic was dead, so that was the end of that.
Oh, my God.
But we walk back, and them guys are giving us like high fives when we go by and fist bumps and shit like that. We must have took out like half their squad all around us. We were just, so many people were dead. And I said, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
So we walk back to the CP, and we get there, and there's like 80 guys standing there. And I said, where the hell were you guys? We needed help down there. And the commander's saying like, oh, we're going to do a big push. We're going to do a big push. Okay, we're going to do a big push. Meanwhile, our sniper team is radioing to me and our team saying, we found a missile, one of the props. We're right in front of it. We're guarding it. We can see the flag. They haven't taken it yet. You can get the flag, which is so many points, and you can get the missile, which is more points, the prop.
Yeah.
So, our squad leader tells our commander, there's a minute. He said, oh, we'll take care of that. He said, okay, I want you, and you. 4 squads this time, including us. Same spot we're going to go. I'm like.
Where you just were?
Yeah. I said, okay. So we start heading down, and we're almost like a V formation, and we're going faster. Of course, I'm in the back of this fast formation, but we're going like a V.
Yeah.
Okay? With our squad leading the run. And we're walking into all that tan that we killed. They're already moved forward. I said that was a bad thing to do, but he wanted us to get in a town, so we're trying to push. So we get so far, and I mean, guys are dying around me and being meted, and I'm like, I stopped, and I got down behind 2 big rocks, which was perfect, and I'm shooting, and then I get hit on the left side on the 9 o'clock position. Them guys are all dead on the left side. Where's our medic? Yeah, and I said, where's our medic? Our 2 medics are dead already. And there's like 4 guys off to my right that are like hid down behind some brush, trying not to get killed. And I can't say nothing. I'm dead. I can't tell them they're coming from the left side. They're all looking at the front and shooting to the 3 o'clock. Pretty soon this one gets hit, hand goes up, this one hit, this one hit. They're all dead. And we're walking back, and before something bad happened, I said, where was everybody? He said, they all died. I said, what do you mean they all died? Like our whole left side is gone. We're the right side. They broke off and went up above by the field. They had no right flank. It just left. So I'm like, that was roughly 80 people went at that group of tan, and they just wiped us out again.
Holy
so I said, yeah, we're not doing. I was telling my squad leader, we're not doing that again. So this is basically, Eric. This is basically like a flat area, and it's got a little bit of slope. Okay. Now you got to remember, there's all snow. It's overcast. It's dark. It's cold. It's windy. So it's a little slippery.
Oh shit! So I forgot this is snow. So when you're crawling, you're kneeling down in the snow.
Yep, I have my big knee pads on with the braces and stuff like that.
Okay.
I start walking back, and I must have misstepped or what I did, and my right knee went out and jerked to the side.
Ooh.
which caused me to go forward. Now I'm holding the gun like this. I've got the trigger back here and I've got my hand on top of the barrel. So my left hand's the only thing that's free. So I'm going down and I put that left hand in the snow and it popped to the side. And all I felt was like this screaming pain in my shoulder.
Oh shit.
So I'm like laying almost face first in the snow. A couple of guys come over and they help me up, and I'm just sitting there for a minute. And they say, "You all right, keeper? You all right, keeper?" Yeah, I'm all right. He said, "Help me all the way up. Help me all the way up. I can't get up." So I put some weight on that leg, and man, did that knee hurt. And I didn't realize how bad I had hurt the shoulder because I was resting it on the gun. I thought I just banged it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, adrenaline's pumping, everything like that. So I'm limping up there, and it's hurting.
Yeah.
And, we're going, and the couple of guys are around me. I want to make sure I'm getting up there. And they get me up to our command point, and there's a double tree laying across, which is about 2.5 feet high, and I sit on it. And I said, yeah, I got to fill up, put my BBs in there. So I'm working like this. I'm not lifting my left arm. So my buddy brings a bottle of BBs over. And each time that we had went down and had a firefight, I had almost emptied that 3,000 rounds of BBs.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I fill it up.
You're trying to hold everybody on all sides.
So I fill up the BBs, close it off, and I take the cap, and my squad leader was there. I said, here, throw this back in my backpack. He said, okay, and I'm just sitting there. I'm not doing nothing. My leg's aching a little bit, but I thought, oh, it's okay. And my one buddy comes by, and I said, here, help me up. And I reached out with my right hand, and he lifted me up. And as soon as I put the weight on that right leg, screaming pain.
Oh, shit.
Burning, screaming pain.
Yeah.
And I did a quick motion, because I had the 30 caliber, I was holding it. I did a quick motion with my left hand to go down on my knee, and then I got the pain in my left arm.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh. and I'm like this. I'm trying to pick it up, and I can't get it above there. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
And they're saying, and, everybody's coming over to me, and they say, keep you all right? You all right? I said, no, I'm not all right. So I said, that's it. I can't hardly walk. I said, I can't raise my left arm. I said, I got to go back to staging. And there are no refs by us, nothing. So they're all saying, oh, we'll walk you back to the van. I said, no. I said, get on it. Get points. Go have fun.
Yeah.
So I got the 30 caliber, and I sort of put my hand on top of the 30 caliber, so it's like supporting my left arm.
Like a sling, yeah.
And I start limping out of the woods.
Mm.
I got about halfway out. There's a stump with snow on it. I sat on that for a little bit. So then I went out a little bit more. I got to the tree line, and there's a pile of pallets with snow on them. I sat right down on the pallets in the snow. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I rest for a couple more minutes. I start going across the field. There's this big, long field to get to where my van is parked. I get about halfway, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, I got to wait and let the pain subside a little bit, and then I keep going with my leg.
So every step you're taking,
it's hurt.
It's your knee is, okay.
So I get to the van. Now, I did mention quite a few times, it was windy, blowing, whatever.
Okay.
So I had already disconnected the air on my 30 caliber. So there's a table sitting there, and I popped out the bipod for my 30 caliber, and I stood it up on the table.
Yeah.
Not remembering that with a full box mag, it's top heavy on the one side, and it'll fall over.
Gotcha.
I had just put it down, and I'm like doing this with one arm, sort of like not trying to do much with the left arm. I had just put it down, turned around, and I heard bang. Shh. BBs just came all out of the box mag.
Oh, God.
So, of course, I'm quickly trying to stop the thing, and I pick it up, and there's about a third of the BBs left in the box mag. There's a little bit on the table. I sort of scrape them into the box mag, and I look at this big pile of white BBs sitting on the ground. And I said, well, they're on the ground. I don't give a shit now. So I open up the hatchback. I put my 30 caliber in. I slung my rig off, threw it in there, closed the hatch. Got in the front seat of my van, and the van had been sitting in the sun all this time. The sun had come out where we were, not over on the side, but right where we were. It finally had come out. My van was hot inside.
Oh, God.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like doing this and I'm like, oh, that's hurting. And I'm moving it around and I'm like, yeah. I said, I can move it. It ain't broke. Nothing's broke. So I said, I seem to be good. And I look over and there is a bottle of Aleve that I had brought and a half a bottle of water. So I took off my tassel cap. I took off my gaiter that I had around my face, and I'm unzipping my jacket. And it's like, oh, it's nice in there. So I took 2 Aleve, took some water, and I'm sitting there sipping water. And I'm there about, a good hour or so. And I guess the Aleve must have kicked in. And I said, well, I'll go out and take some pictures. I should be good.
Yeah.
The knee's hurting, but I can suffer with it. It wasn't bad. I just tightened up the knee pads a little bit, give it a little extra brace. Mm-hmm. So I got out of the car and I stood up and I'm like, yeah, it's not too bad. I walk around to the back to the hatch. And I go to reach to unhook the hatch and I'm like, ooh, that hurts.
This episode is sponsored by Skirmish, the future of airsoft gameplay management. Are you ready to take airsoft to the next level? Skirmish's innovative gameplay management solution tracks your every move, helping you dominate the field and achieve your full potential. Capture objectives, detonate targets, medic, and more at skirmish-enabled fields. We track every action so you don't have to. Review past games action by action and follow your progress in national rankings. Phones are not required to use this system on the field. Get connected with the only system that tracks your airsoft progress. If you want to find out more, check out episode 157, where I talk with the owner of Skirmish about how it started and how it works. Visit skirmish.net to check it out and watch games across the nation. This episode is also sponsored by JefesAirsoftSolutions.com. Are you looking for a company that puts the community first? Look no further than Jefes Airsoft Solutions. Their founding principle is to offer a way for players of all types to get the greatest experience possible. Their passion is to make a difference in the airsoft community and serve each of their customers with the utmost respect. Be part of the conversation by joining hundreds of fellow airsofters in their Discord server. Here you can find out about upcoming events, sales, giveaways, and more. Don't wait any longer. Join today and start enjoying all that Jefes Airsoft Solutions has to offer. Together, we can make a difference in the community. Use the code TRIFECTA10 and save 10% on your next purchase at JefesAirsoftSolutions.com. Some exclusions apply.
Well, I said, screw it. Went back in the car, and I turned my radio on. And I've got a really good antenna and a high capacity battery, and I got that sitting right on the dash, turned up, and I'm listening to my guys fight. And they were like taking a lot of heavy fire. And I found out that my squad leader broke away from the commander because it's his first time commanding, and they sent him back down to take that town again. And Chip's like, no way, I'm not doing that again. So they went after the flag and the prop that was there, but the TAN team had already taken the prop.
Oh.
So they had massive, incredible fighting. They have Connex containers in 2 spots. One was near the green side, one was near the tan side. And in the middle are these like small hills with big, large pipes through them, called the pipes area.
Yeah.
There's basically 5 flags on the field. There was one near the green CP right in the Connex containers. There's one on the tan side right next to the Connex containers. There's one right in the middle of the pipes. There was one off in the woods down below the green team and one off down below the woods by the tan team. So you could get 5 flags. Well, tan had all 4 flags, and 4 out of the 5 flags. The only one they didn't get was the one down below us. They had taken the one where the prop was, and where our sniper team had seen the prop next to the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And you get points every hour when they go by. If your team has that color flag, then you get so many points.
Okay.
So tan was just controlling all the points. They had found all the props. They had found the bombs. They'd found everything. And a new thing, which is interesting for this game, is there was a point subtractor if you cheated, you were caught cheating, and there was also point subtracting if you called somebody out for cheating and they weren't cheating. If you said, oh, that guy's shooting hot over there, he's shooting too fast, and the guy went over and chroned him and he's not shooting fast or not shooting hot, you would lose points for doing that.
Oh, shit.
There was also points for not having the right camo. And this was interesting. One of our guys was in woodland pants. He had a black shirt on and tan gear. So he looked so close to the tan guys. And I'm like, don't you have a white shirt or something you can put over that? I said, like you're going to, oh, it's all right, he says. Then there's another guy, and you could wear civilian clothes on the green team. And the rule was no black, no red, no orange, no plaid, no gray pants or shirt.
Gotcha.
This guy's wearing black pants with a woodland top and a tan gear again. So I'm like, buddy, they're going to nail you for the pants. So every time these two guys buy a point, like a flag or a prop or something like that, and the ref saw him, he deducted points for each person. I don't know how many points it was. One guy said it was only 10. Another guy said it was 25. I think it was 25 because we lost by a lot. And I'm like, those two guys, every time they were together, I said they were on two different squads, which thank God. But every time they were together, we were losing like 50 points every time them guys were by a prop or a flag. So I'm like, but I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun, Eric. After that, when I was driving home, I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know how I'm gonna do. I don't know, what's the day, the rest of the weeks are gonna be. And we didn't actually have a game lined up until like this April coming up next week, or this Saturday. All that next couple of weeks, all I did was raise the arm, put it behind my head, stretch it all out, right? Try and reach down as much, and I stretched and stretched and stretched.
Really?
And I can raise it up and down without pain now.
Huh.
So it must have been just something that I could feel that it was tight and it hurt.
Yeah.
But I stretched it out and I kept moving it around, and actually made a difference. Now, knee, for the first week or so, I was taking a leave at least twice a day.
Yeah.
And I like to get on the treadmill at least once a day, and when it's cold and I can't go outside and do anything, and I can't run or something like that, but I put it at 1 mile an hour and I just walk for 15 minutes. Well, I got on there the first time after this had happened, and I walked for about 2 minutes, and then I had to stop. It hurt so bad. I said, well, that's the end of that. I ain't gonna do that for a while.
Right.
So I'm stretching the leg out. I'm trying to put all kind of stuff on it. I'm taking a leave and trying to relax on it. Don't go crazy with it there. And it's actually feeling a little bit better to the point where I'm back on my treadmill doing my 15 minutes every day. So just so I walk when it's cold. When it's cold, not like today, but when it's cold out, those last couple of weeks in March, all I did was stay in the house. I didn't go anywhere else. I didn't no use going out. Real. But I'll tell you, this last, I'd say week and a half, 50s, 60s today. I'll bet it'll be up to almost 65, 70 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And I love going out and just doing odd things that I need to do around the field or around the house. And the neighbor up the road got his lawnmower out, and I said, well, you're rushing the season, buddy. I said, you cut your grass. It's going to snow.
I cut the grass yesterday. Look how, hold on. It is
79. Oh,
yeah. Geez. Yesterday was 82 here. And I went out there and mowed, and the right side of my face, I didn't wear my hat, and the right side of my face, now this was later, but the medication I take for the blood clot I had for a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When I was coming out of being sick, whatever, they put me on this stuff, whatever, that helped me walk, but I had a blood clot, the whole right side of my body from top to bottom. My lung was full, so my right lung totally, and then my leg and all that stuff. So, so I've been on blood thinners since. Well, the stuff I take, I guess it makes you sensitive to the sun. Well, this is the first time I've been outside, when it was sunny since the winter, and so I was out there for 2 hours messing around, and cleaning up my tools and stuff from working, and then mowed the grass. And the right side of my face, I woke up. I didn't sleep for shit last night because, like your shoulder injury, I re-injured mine like a month ago, and I was doing the same thing. I was taking Motrin like twice a day. Just to deal with the pain from it, and I was stretching it. It was going numb. My hand was going numb, constantly when I would move it in a certain spot, and could hardly sleep. And so anyway, so last night, same thing. I'm like, I could barely sleep. I started getting all these leg cramps from mowing yesterday, pushing the mower and everything, and because we have a push mower, not a riding mower, so and then I wake up, my face I'm just totally like, I didn't sleep very much at all. And then I wasn't feeling good this morning. My wife went and got the grandkids yesterday, and our grandson, we didn't know, but he had the flu. We didn't know until last night. He had the flu, so he's all fever, throwing up, all this stuff. And so when I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, Jesus. And then the right side of my face, all my skin is just hurt. It hurts. Like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like a sunburn. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, but anyway, so I was just the, dealing with all that kind of stuff is, as you get older, man. And then, if you get injured, I mean, your knee. Now, is this the same leg you hurt a couple years ago?
Yep.
Now you broke it pretty bad, right? Like you messed it up pretty bad when you did
I shattered it and drove the bones into the knee.
Yep.
And they had to put in 12 screws and like I call them 2 slabs of metal, but like they're 2 pieces of metal. And they actually had to take them out because they were pushing out.
Yeah.
So they had to take everything out. And the way the knee looks, it doesn't look normal. It's like bigger on the left side, and he just says it still functions. He said there's still some calcium deposits on there. He said, which is probably what's causing you a problem. I'm like, hey, yeah, whatever. So I said, I was looking at it this morning, and I'm like thinking, I have the 2 snowblowers waiting to go out, and I'm like, should I like winterize them and put them away and get the mower out? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that yet. Because as soon as I do that, it's gonna snow. I know that for a fact. If I get rid of the snowblowers, it's gonna snow. And I was thinking about getting the grill out because I have the grill in the carport all covered up, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So,
yeah,
just as soon as I
wait
do
a couple more weeks. Mm-hmm.
So, one friend of mine, we were talking to this guy that owns a paintball field. And he has open plays there, airsoft games and stuff like that, events.
Yeah.
But we said to him, would you mind if we ran an open play? And he said, yeah, okay, if you guys want to do it. He says, your guys are in charge for the day then. We're the refs, me and this other guy, and we got like the objectives and gameplay all laid out for the people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it isn't the first time that I've run a game, but like it's the first time he run a game, and he's very excited about it and everything like that, which is cool. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun because it's an open play where a lot of noobs are there and exposing them to like objectives. We have bomb props, we have flags we're going to have. We're going to have like missions for these people to do, and we're going to try to divide the teams up evenly. I know a lot of the guys come and they want to have, their whole squad on a team. Well, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to divide up people so the teams are evenly placed, because a lot of times you'll get like half a dozen new players that have never played before. That's their first time out. I don't want to have 6 versus, 6 pros. I want to like split them up a little bit so it's even Steven,
right.
So we're going to be doing that, and we picked the latest date that he had for an open play in October. He goes all the way to like November, weather depending. But we picked the day in October that we're going to do. We're going to actually run an open play with our rule set in the whole 9 yards. We got. I have 2 electronic bomb props we're going to bring. I'm actually going to bring 2 wooden bomb props that I got, 2 large crates that people are going to move, and 5 different flags. And our flags are like 4-foot poles with flags on either end. So you just turn the flag over and stick it up, lean it against a corner with your flag sticking up. It's real easy to mess around. And we're thinking about like an escort mission. We're talking about like a defense of an area. We're trying to throw all these things out. We only have it's from 10 to 4, so it's only a 6-hour day.
Gotcha.
So we got to fill up 6 hours worth of gameplay. But his rule is after so many plays or whatever, he wants everybody to come back to staging, so you reload and everything like that and rest up. It's not a continuous out on the field type thing. So I'm like, it won't be a total of 6 hours. It might be a little bit less, but I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to do that. But
those aren't too bad. I mean, that's what Stonebreaker, some of the GTI or Third Coast Airsoft mill sims, like the 3-day mill sim or 2.5-day mill sims. They're like Saturday. They play for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then they break for like an hour and a half or something. Then they play for 2.5 hours, then they break, and they play for 2.5 hours at night. So, I mean, it works out a lot. I think it works out good for most people that show up to these kind of events because a lot of these guys are gung-ho, but kind of like you and me, like if they're a little bit older, if they're a little bit more out of shape, or if they had a previous injury, you think in your head, like the body is willing or the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak, that kind of thing.
Yep.
It is 100%, man. Like they have this idea, like they're really excited until they go out there, and if the weather is either kind of warm, if it's 65, that's not bad. But you're wearing all this gear, and maybe you're not used to drinking a bunch of water days before. Like if you don't keep up in your water intake, you're kind of dehydrated. You go out there, and you got all your stuff on. You walk for 2 miles in that kind of gear with uneven terrain and your boots and all this kind of stuff, and you're paying attention, so you're exerting more energy just thinking, trying to pay attention, and then all this other stuff factored in. After 2 hours of play, you're like, okay, hold on, and you walk back to spawn, once or twice. Like you're, these guys are like, okay, it was nice. When's the break?
Well, is it American Mill Sim does the medic where you got to drink a bottle of water every time you get meted?
I think I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know if it's the big bottles of water or it's the small bottles of water or whatever.
No, I think it's the full 16 ounce, the 16.7 ounce, yeah.
Yeah, you're shotgunning a 16 ouncer down there every time. You're not going to be dehydrated. No.
Yeah. That's one of the smartest things I've heard about that, with try to incorporate that kind of thing in there, yeah.
I like that idea. Like I know for a fact, I've been trying to drink as much water as I can.
Yeah.
During
I use
the
this
day.
thing.
So, yeah.
So this thing is one of those Nalgene or whatever, It's got the filter in there.
Yeah.
And buy an extra filter and just replace the filter. This thing lasts a while. But this is 48 ounces. Yeah. And I drink 2 of these a day. So this has like a time thing on the back where it's like, where you should be if you want to drink it evenly throughout the day. And then you refill it at noon. Should be done with this full, and then you refill it at noon. By the time you're done with your second one, it should be like dinner time. So that way you kind of keeps you on track with your water intake. So I try to do that every day.
I like that. Send me a link for that when you get a chance.
Yeah, so the filter is more expensive than the thing. Like when you buy the filter separately, but I think these are like $34 altogether. And then this filter lasts like, I don't know how many liters or gallons. It's a lot. Like it'll last you a while. And I thought, honestly, how can I tell if this filter is really working? So, a couple days ago, I've been mixing because I haven't been feeling that great, and with all I had some issues with the blood thinner stuff, so I was starting to get swelled again. My leg was all kind of messed up, and so I think it was the effect of taking so many Motrin, like ibuprofen.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Every day, yeah, and it was so anyway. So I'm kind of coming off of that, and so I was like, I'm drinking all this water. Usually, if I slow down on my water intake and I don't remember to take my blood thinner or whatever, I'll notice like after a week, I'll notice a lot of swelling, and so anyway, I'm like, I'm drinking all this water, but so this thing is Oh, so anyway, so I started taking this what is this powder called? Vitamin C something. Anyway, it's like a immune system booster, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's like a Super C or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I've seen those. Yeah.
right, a little packet, just a powder you dump in. So I put in like, I have my coffee in here now, but I'll in the morning I'll take it, I'll fill this up with water. Well, normally I use like my wife has the water bottled water there. I'll pour it in there. So the other day I was like, I wonder if this filter really works. I don't know. I can't tell if it's worn out or not. So I just used the regular water from the tap. And our water tastes kind of funny around here. And man, I could tell a huge difference. So anyway, I could taste the chlorine. I could taste this, all the like metal taste or whatever. But with this, nothing. And no matter where I go on a job site, wherever I get water, old houses, wherever, well water, I can't. It all tastes the same. Like this filter works really good. But yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
Well, what I like my house, I've got a shallow well.
Okay.
It's only 21 feet deep, and
Gotcha.
then there's a well out in like about 50 feet out in the yard at 18 feet deep. That's always got water in it. Then there's a spring a little farther out in the woods that's about 12 feet deep with water in it all the time. And then there's a collapsed spring up on top of the hill. So I'm like at the bottom of the hill of all this water.
Wow.
Okay. And there's a creek across the road from my house too. So one guy, he's down cellar and he's like, I hear water running all the time. I said, that's because there's water running in. And you could see the stone where they cut around.
Yeah.
It's like 3/4 around where they cut through. And the well is right there, and it's only 21 feet deep, so I got a real shallow well. The only problem I always have is sediment you'll get from surface water and stuff. So I actually got a inline water filter on the pump. So the pump pumps it up, puts it into this single stage. I only got a single stage one,
Right.
10 micron filter, and I'm like takes all the sediment and stuff out. So I probably could drink right from the faucet all the time, but I'm just too lazy. I always buy bottles of water, and I probably should start doing what you're doing. It actually would be more economical. Like you buy that thing, and I could fill it right from the tap, because the water's not bad from the tap. There's no bad taste. The water's not got any like. The one guy down the road has a sulfur well. He's got to have like a triple stage filter on his. He said to get the sulfur smell out of the water, and I said, ugh, because he made coffee for me, and even though he ran it through the filter, that went through me like a dose of salt. So I'm like, boof, and it's gone through me. So yeah, so getting something like that would be cool to have, and this way I can always see how much I only drink about 4 of these a day, so that's like.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
That's almost 80 ounces.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this one I'll usually be I'll have maybe about a quarter full of this before I go to bed. That's the only problem. I keep drinking it right up till I go to bed, and then it's like every 3 hours, I'm up.
Oh, for real. Yeah, well, I hear that. Yeah, this is so this has been good for me I've always liked having something like that holds more water, that's one single thing that I can fill anywhere, as opposed to the bottled water stuff, because bottled water, like when I'm out on job sites, or even before I got sick when I was working in factories, it's now they have drinking fountains there and stuff, but to keep water close to you, like I would have this at my station, something like this at my station where I'd run the machines, and it holds way more water. Like those water bottles on a hot day in a 110-degree factory, and you're climbing up and down, on the hoppers and stuff that run the, that feed the extruder. It's 150 degrees up above the extruder, and you're dripping sweat, literally dripping sweat. So one of those bottled water is, I drink that in like one drink. It's just gone. And then I throw it away, and then I have to go get another one. I don't have enough space to like put all these different bottles there, and then they get hot sitting there. So I was always looking for something like that.
How's it for like heat? Like I see, it's
not
like
really insulated.
It's like an off color that'll keep the water a little bit. Yeah.
Yep. So if it's if it's in in the sun, it's hot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not like insulated or anything, but it does have this. Which one of the things I like about this too is the this cover cap. So when I'm on job sites, and I'm sanding drywall mud, it is white powder all over the place. Okay, and the drinking straw is underneath this cap.
So it's clean.
So totally clean. Now when I close this, it seals it so it doesn't drip.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I
if
like
it falls over, I just throw it wherever in my car, just throw it somewhere. If it gets knocked over, it's fine. It's really durable. It's got this real big carry handle on the back that's big and thick enough for your thumb, and where I wear gloves, I can still fit my glove finger through there to pick it up. So the one previous, this is the newest model. The one previous to this, I've used this same brand 5 years maybe, somewhere around there. But the original one did not have this cover cap. It just was open right here like this. And then also this was a lot smaller, and it didn't break. It was durable, but I couldn't fit my finger through it. So I just had to, there's no point really. Yeah. So this one's a lot better. So
now, how much are the filters for that, Eric?
I think the filters are 27. That's why I'm saying, like, you buy a new one or maybe they're 24. So you buy a whole new thing, it's 34, and you buy a filter. I tried to do the because I got this on Amazon, and the filters, I tried to put on subscribe thing, and they were out for a while, so I ended up just buying a new one. And I was like, wait a minute, the filter was 25 and something or whatever, and then I'm like, man, maybe I'll just get a new one because they were out of filters.
How long does a filter last in them?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. It says, I want to say like 10,000. It's a lot. It's a lot, dude. I'm going to look it up real quick because, well, I'll tell you this. I've had this. Like I said, I drank 2 of these 7 days a week. So that's 90, what's 48 and 48? 96 ounces?
Yeah.
Every day. Now, I might not drink it all the way down, or I might drink like one. So let's on average, I drink like 70 ounces every day, 7 days a week. I never not drink water during the day. So I'll always at least drink one and then partial one or whatever. But so let's say I drink.
You fill it up before you go to bed, throw it in the refrigerator, then it's nice and cold for the day.
Oh, then it's cold. Oh yeah, and you can put ice in here. The opening, you can dump ice cubes in here, like giant ones. Like the opening is huge.
Yeah.
And all this is separate. The straw comes out of here. Okay. So you could let this dry out. You can wash it. You can run bleach through it if you wanted. This straw is separate, and then the filter is separate as well. So the straw just comes out. So you can wash the straw out. And then you just swap your filter out. It's really light, and it's
hopefully you're not dripping on your keyboard.
No, I'm dripping on. I'm actually kind of warm right now. I'm starting to feel better.
Yeah.
So because I was freezing this morning. I was shivering. I was not feeling good. So I'm starting to feel better. But so this feels good dripping on me right now because it gets hot in this room. But yeah, so then you can just put the filter right on there, the new one, and then just drop it in. They're great, man. I've taken this cap off and filled it at some pretty dirty job sites. And I'm talking where there's a bunch of people working around and cutting and sanding and drilling and chunks of stuff flying around. And I've taken this cap off, set the filter down somewhere, filled this from a straight pipe out of the back of the wall because the plumber's working on stuff. Okay. Filled it from just crappy water, and had chunks of stuff in here from the debris flying around. It all just sits in here. It gets caught in the filter. Totally good. So it really has been.
That's about the size of my one water, like the one holder I got on my gear. My one unit. I have a smaller water
Was it
bottle.
like what do you call those, Camelbacks or something?
Yeah, but
Bladder?
this is actually on my belt. It's made for
Oh,
one of those. Because I have to, when I put my smaller water bottle in it, I got to cinch it closed because it's too big for it. But for something that size, I could set that son of a bitch right on my back, my left hip,
yeah.
and I could have water for the day. That would be great.
Oh, dude, it is so nice. Yeah, let me
Hey,
see what this filters. Go ahead.
uh, I was going to ask you, what are your boys doing? Where are they out and about doing some airsoft games?
Uh, they have not played airsoft since Iron Dagger last year, which was I think October, and that's where that was the mill sim that me and Colton went to. Me and
Okay.
Coltrane went to, and he wasn't going to go because JP and Christian couldn't go. So Christian got promoted. So he's in. So at the factory he's at, which is like 2 minutes down the road from our house. He's been there since for more than 5 years, maybe 6 years, and he got promoted. So he's in charge of his whole shift. Okay, and that happened back around before the end of the year last year, and so he couldn't go. He was on call and that kind of shit, and then Colton got married. Okay,
Yeah.
so when he got married, Stella, who he married, she was previously married. She's divorced. Already has 2 kids. So when they got married, let's see, they have a boy. She has a boy and a girl, and the boy's 11, and the daughter is 5 when we met them, or 10, yeah, something like that. And then now they're 12 and 6. So about to turn another year, but so they got, and then he bought a house. Okay,
Oh,
so
that does it.
um, yeah, he bought a house. Well, he bought this $330,000 house. It's really nice, and it's about 10 minutes away from us. Okay, and but because of these extra bills, he inherited 2 kids. A wife and 2 kids, like
Yep.
instantly. That are into sports and into activities and stuff, and this new house, he's working overtime, and then JP is spending more time with his son. So all these guys, it just like they're just doing what we did when we were their age,
Yep.
and so they're busy, and so it's very difficult for us to get together to do anything. The only thing we do, like Sunday, we're all getting together for Easter. But as far as airsoft stuff, they haven't picked up an airsoft gun since Stonebreaker of last year, which was almost exactly a year ago.
It's
So
it's tough. The one friend of mine, he's getting married next month,
yeah,
and he bought a house. Same thing. Bought a house. He's telling me about. Yeah, I'm working. He works 8 days on and 6 days off. That's an interesting schedule.
ooh, yeah, it
Then
is.
he's telling me about he's got the house, the wedding to pay for, all this other stuff he's going on there, and I'm like, well, you gonna come out and come to this game? No time. It's like been months since he's been out to play too.
Uh-huh.
And the one guy, he wants to come out for the team, and I said to his buddy that said he wanted to come out for the team. I said, whatever happened to this guy? He said, oh, he got a girlfriend. I said, yeah, that ended there stuff. That was it. Got a girlfriend.
Isn't
I
that
said, hey,
crazy?
I
Yeah.
said, hey, whatever it is. Like the one guy, he was on our team, and he had one kid, and his wife got pregnant, and they got another kid. So he started coming like every other month out to play airsoft.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he tells us, yeah, my wife's pregnant again. And I'm like, oh, that's the end of the airsoft. And that was it. That was the end of the airsoft. He's not coming out anymore. I think he sold all his stuff. And, that was the end of that. I said, hey, there's priorities in life. I said, maybe years from now, once the kids are grow up, maybe you want to get back into it or something like
Yeah.
that. But, it works. I'll tell you, with my shoulder injury,
Yeah.
the last year, I think it was in end October,
Right.
I had brought my sniper rifle and my HPA shotgun to the open play.
Okay.
So we played one round switching sides in this like long rectangular town area. So I'm like sitting out on the outside in the woods, shooting at people all during that game. Oh, it's shoulder's starting to bother me. We go over to another field, and again, it's another long rectangular field with a bunch of barricades and stuff like that. I think I pulled back like 4 times on that rifle, and I'm like, "Yep, that's it. I ain't doing that no more. That hurts like a son of a bitch." So,
Oh shit.
the 2 sniper rifles have been sitting there. I got them tweaked out, but I'm not going to be doing nothing with them. So my buddy said, "Well, you can't use a sniper rifle," and he said the shotgun is not bad. I'm pumping with my left arm, so that's not too bad. Plus, I put a full stock on it, which gets it up against my shoulder instead of having a pistol grip.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. But he said, "Well, what are you going to do for open plays if your shoulder starts bothering you?" I said, "That's why I got the HPA pistols." I said, "I can shoot left-handed. Did it a lot." I said, last year, I said, I was shooting left-handed at all these people. I said, I'm starting to get pretty good with it. So I'm like, they're laughing at me. They said, like, why do you want to go out with a pistol out on for an open play? I said, because it's fun. I said, I'm not going out there to wreck people. I'm going out to have fun. And I have them tweaked out. I have an AAP-01. I got the WeTech one. I can't remember the name. Galaxy. I have one of them. I have 2 M9s that I have tweaked out. I like using the M9s. They're big and chunky, and they got some weight, so I can hold them pretty steady.
Okay.
And I'm getting to the point, Eric, when I'm shooting, I see somebody run. I can gauge from my hip where I'm shooting at the guy, and I have it like at my hip, and I fire 2 rounds at him. Oh, I'll get him with 1. Yeah. And I'm like, it's fun. And most of them have the mag adapter on them, so I'm running like an M4 mag on them, like 90 rounds, 110 rounds.
Is that what you have on your AAP-01?
Yeah, well, I have on the AAP-01, I have a M4 adapter and I have a drum mag adapter. So if I want to run that with the drum, I can run that all day. The one day I went to an open play, and the guy said to me, I brought my Galaxy and the AAP-01. They both take Glock mags. So I had my Glock adapter for the M4 mag. I ran 1 game. So then I went and got the AAP-01, put the 1,500 round drum mag on it, and I ran the rest of the day. The guy says, "Oh, you're going to fill up with BBs." I said, "I'm good." You shoot 3-4 times at a guy, or you shoot a couple of guys, and these guys are laughing at me. They're across the field. We start out, they start shooting at me. I'll just go pop, 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 get a couple shots at them, and pretty soon hand goes up. I said, "Sucker's got range. I'm using 3.0s in it, just like I use in my 30 caliber." I said, that just slings the BBs out there, and I got it set to about the FPS limit for that field is 1.86 joules, basically flooring it with 2.5. Yeah. But I set all my stuff to be like under 1.5 joules. So I think I was shooting like 134 with that pistol.
Okay.
Just so it's way under. And I'm like, I never have a problem shooting these guys. I'm like, and I don't shoot a full auto. It's a semi-only game. Most of the games for the open plays are semi-only. So I'm like, shooting the pistol, I have a blast with that. And I mean, if the left shoulder or the right shoulder starts bothering me, just put it in the left hand and I can play the rest of the day.
Right.
It's all for fun. And I've done it to the point where I had the M4 mag on and I forgot to change it out. And we played like 2 rounds and the guys wanted to stay out for another 2 rounds. So we went to another field and did 2 more rounds. And it was a 90 round mag and I didn't realize it, but it was empty. And I'm like, okay, it's empty. So then I'm just sneaking up to these guys. So I get right behind him and I said, "You're dead." And I pull the trigger. There's nothing coming out. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, I'm out. And I'm like, I didn't hit him with nothing.
But it still makes the sound.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just sneaking up on these guys. And these guys are all about rushing up. A lot of the new players are about rushing up and just rushing up and getting as fast as you can. And I said to the one kid, I said, "Why don't you come with me?" And we're going slow. And he said, "Oh, they're over there." And I said, Don't go out yet. I said, "You're going to jump out. They're going to see you're there. They're there. You saw them. Let's go this way. They won't see you this way because they think you're right there." So I said, "Keep something between you and them, but keep watching to your left." I said, "So you're watching, you're putting cover, and you keep moving to keep cover between you and the guy you're getting at. You move down, you flank him. Now you're shooting across at him." And he's like, "How the hell did you get down there? How'd you shoot me down there?" I said, we're walking through the
Smart.
woods, and the one guy he's sitting behind a barricade, and all these guys are there, and I'm in the back there with my pistol, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take a walk this way. And I mean, I walked. I didn't dive but cover. I walked to this tree, and I stopped. I walked to the next tree. Every tree I moved to, put the tree between me and him. And he's shooting at all these other guys, and he's looking. I'm watching him, and he's looking all around, and they're just peeking out a little bit. And he's shooting, and he's looking around, not shooting at me yet. I just keep moving up, putting a tree or whatever in front of me until I got close enough, and then I'm like, put the gun up against the tree, and I'm like, pop, 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 pop. Up, got him on the 5th shot. I'm like, I don't have to run. I don't want to. These guys are just running up there. I said, hey, that's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of guys like doing that.
You're teaching them how to, how to be smart with
use cover. Because I said,
use cover, man. Like, I think, what I think it is. A lot of these younger, not just younger in age, but younger, like newer to airsoft players.
Yeah.
They're used to playing Call of Duty. Okay, there's run and just run. Like, they don't know how to use cover. They don't know how to use like tactics, right? Like look at your field, where your field of view, where they can see, where what's in between you and them, that kind of thing, like concealment or whatever. It's I really think they're in this mindset, like, oh, I'll just run right at them. I'll get them. No, you won't. Like, you're not as fast as you think you are.
And using suppressing fire. You got a guy behind a building. Okay, so I just start shooting the building so that it makes BB noises and somebody else can run up on the side or toward them. I've actually done that, provide my own suppressing fire. I'm almost lateral with a guy in front of me, and he's off to the right side of a building. And I peek over to the right, he starts firing at me. So I move to the left and start firing at the building. Well, he hears BB, so he assumes I'm somewhere shooting BBs at him, and he stays there waiting to get me. And I just keep shooting as I move up right to where he is.
Yeah.
I remember we traded on a couple of occasions like that. But most of the time, I keep making the shooting against the cover.
Yep.
He thinks like I'm laying down fire from a position, but I'm actually moving forward as I'm firing to provide my own cover fire till I get to the position I want to be so I can shoot at him.
Dude, there are so many people that don't know how to use, like, they don't know what cover fire is. They don't know what suppressive fire is. They don't know how to be an LMG guy. Like, Crixus and I were talking about this, and, just a couple weeks ago, because he runs a 249 a lot, and and he was in the military, and he ran a machine gun in the military, so he knows you don't shoot. A machine gun is supposed to be, it doesn't shoot in a straight line. You probably know this from all, you know a lot of history about these guns. The Browning automatic rifle, the first iteration of it was too good. Like, it shot too straight. The grouping was way too tight. So they had to mess with, I don't know exactly what they did, but they made it to where it sprayed, right, all over the place.
One of the things that they did on the FN 30, I heard, was they flared the end of the barrel. So the BB, listen to me. So the bullet, it's starting to feel the Magnus effect of the air around it. It's starting to move. So maybe it'll move a little to the left, but it's only like and it also like gave it that distinctive flash too, because they made it so long. But the FN 30 though had a really tight grouping, even though they did that. 1919 was supposed to. It's only a 30 caliber too, instead of a 50. Yeah. So the 30 caliber was a really tight grouping on the. I remember it said on a 1917. I forget what the pattern size on that. But
I think that was the bar was too. Yeah, the 30 when they first did that. And
it's a really good bullet.
Your suppressive fire is you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, Don. That is suppressive fire and cover fire is not trying to get the guy. You're not trying to shoot this little tiny one spot. No, you're making the most dramatic effect in that area as possible with the least amount of ammo used.
So
Okay,
your team can move, or you can, or
exactly.
someone with you can move.
You want what your job is for covering fire and suppressive fire is the enemy that's doing this and shooting from behind cover. Bah, 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 bah. You want them to stop that and just withdraw. Like
Right.
just go back behind cover and stay there because you're peppering the whole area like you're doing with the Connex boxes. And I think those are probably the biggest effect is shooting a Connex box because it's so loud. But like shoot the tree. If they're behind a tree, shoot the tree. Don't try to shoot their little hand that's sticking out. Like just pepper the tree and it'll keep them back there a little more so that you or your guys can move somewhere. Like that's the whole point.
I don't, I argue with guys that like there's another team that like they have a lot of LMGs on their team. They had like 2 squads there and they had the 4 LMGs and all the guys were shooting 35 rounds a second. And I'm like,
Damn.
It's not realistic. It's fun, but it's not realistic. No. So I'm like, I said, why don't you set that to be like 20? Oh, I want to be able to hit the guy. I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing with that damn thing.
Exactly. That's not your job, dude.
I said to him, you're supposed to burst that thing. I said, you put a couple of rounds down, see if he moved. If he didn't, put a couple more rounds. Move him around. Shoot on his right side and make sure he moves to the left. That's how I do it. Like if I see a guy in the middle of cover, I'm going to shoot on the right side, move him to the left so my guys can pick him off.
There you go.
This guy is just spraying 35 rounds a second. And he's like, I'm out of BBs. I'm out of BBs. And I'm like, how the hell could you be out of BBs as a 2500 drum mag? I'm like, how could you be out of BBs?
Uh-huh.
And then he's dumping bottles of BBs in it on the field.
Dude, it's such a waste.
Yeah, that was something on this game. I don't know if I mentioned that. There was no reloading on the field. So if you had a mid cap, you couldn't use your speed loader. My drum mag, I couldn't dump BBs in it. So when you were out, you were out.
That's kind of like a milsim, like milsim rules. Like whatever you have on you, it has to be in your magazines.
Yeah.
That you got to go back. You couldn't carry extra BBs with you out there, that kind of thing. Okay.
Every one of my teammates, I know my squad CO, he normally has an 8 on his gear, but he put a drop leg with a couple more mags on it, and he had a couple in his dump pouch already. He won that because he's very concise on his shooting, but he shoots a lot. Gotcha. Okay. And almost everybody on the team had at least 12 mags, if not more. I know that the one guy, he had a backpack with like 4 mags on the back, double stacked. Oh, he said, if you're fighting and you're out, grab a mag off my pack.
Come up. Oh, that's not a bad idea.
I was the only one that like, if I'm out of BBs, I'm out of BBs. That's it. I was damn near out of BBs the 2 times I was firing, but I'm like, I only one time ran out of BBs at one event, but then you could fill on the field on that particular event. But this one, it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you, they have an event coming up. Same group, same rule set, the whole 9 yards, coming up May 6th and 7th.
Okay.
They changed the rule set. They made it all class-based. Like there's a sniper class, a DMR class, now LMG class. You can only have 2 LMGs per 20-man squad. Everybody shoots semi-only. Your designated rifleman, he can go with a sniper, or an assault guy can go with a sniper. Yeah. On the sniper squad, they have a recon squad. They break it up pretty good and they go by the classes.
Uh-huh.
The year before, it was just everybody can shoot full auto. It was a cluster.
Yep.
And I'm like, you got these guys, and it was 35 rounds a second was the rate of fire limit. And you got these guys put these box mags on, and they got the speed triggers, and even though they said you're not supposed to use them, the binary triggers, I know one guy that had it, so he's got a speed trigger with binary, so every time it's like bang, 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 and he's like feathering.
It sounds full auto.
And the game was just, I was a sniper in that game. Okay. And the guy that was with me, he had an M4, and we got in this one building, and it just sounded like hail was hitting us from every direction, and it's like, you're yelling, I'm hit. You're waving the red flag out, and my hand's getting peppered because I'm waving the red flag. We go to walk out. We've got the red flags. We're waving them over our head. We're getting peppered still. We get out, and we walk toward the ref. We're getting peppered. I stood behind the ref, and he's getting shot. So
oh, my God.
It was bad. Everybody was
Holy
just shooting
shit.
and shooting. And and I try to tell a lot of these guys, they shoot at movement. I said, that is not what you're supposed to do. I said, I learned that when I started hunting. You don't shoot at movement because it could be a guy walking through the woods that doesn't have correct orange vest on.
Identify your target.
Damn straight. And I said, you guys are just shooting at your movement. And there were so many team kills that day with the full auto.
Yeah.
So this year, they're going with the classes again and the squad race stuff. So the squad can have 2 LMGs, 2 snipers, and as many DMRs as you want, and everybody else. But 2 LMGs, two snipers on there.
Okay.
But I'm not quite sure I'm up for that game because that's an 8-hour game.
Okay.
And it's the same. Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. No reloads on the field. You got to go back to your command point to reload if you want. So you got to go back as a squad and reload after everybody's dead. So I actually bought a really nice digital camera, and I started taking some pictures, and I think I'm going to be shooting people with the camera this year for that game instead of actually playing.
Yeah.
I asked the guy if I had to buy a ticket. I had no problem if I had to buy a ticket.
Sure.
Because they actually pay a photographer to come in and take pictures.
Gotcha.
And they said, long as you're not in her way, and you don't wear, you wear some kind of fluorescent or red vest, you're good to go. So I've been taking pictures from time to time of our guys here and, at different events and stuff like that. And even though my camera I bought was like $450, it's not like the best, but it's not the worst.
Right.
And I've been having a lot of fun with it. And what's nice about it, though, Eric, I have a walking stick with a tripod top on it. It's like a regular pole.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
I can walk, and I post, and then I can just put the camera. I put it on continuous mode, so if there's an action shot, I just press the shutter and tick, 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 take a bunch of pictures. Yes. This way, if I get 20 shots and maybe 3 are nice, I'll save them 3. But I've been having a lot of fun with that, and, I got extra batteries, I got extra cards for it, and I'm thinking that this is what I'm going to do for this game that's coming up. Gotcha. Because even though I'd like to bring the 30 caliber and play for the day, I don't know how long I'd last.
Yeah.
Now,
well, when's your surgery? You said
end of May.
Okay.
So this is the first 2 weeks of May, and that surgery is for my shoulder.
Okay.
That's end of May. So I'm like, do I want to play? I have time still to buy the ticket if I want to. And if I have the ticket and I bring some gear with me, I still can shoot pictures later on. So I'm like torn if I want to do that. Either way, I'm going to have fun. If I can go out there and take some really good action shots, I don't care if I get shot. That don't matter to me. You know, and I get some nice action shots of people. And one of the things that I usually see in the last couple of games, I don't know if it's just, a girl that's taking the picture, her boyfriend was on a tan, but 90% of the shots were of tan and very few of the green side. So
gotcha.
I'm gonna sort of concentrate on the green side and get a lot of pictures of the green side this time. So I figure, what the hell, make it even up. But that might be something that I want to do. Not that I'm going to get out of airsoft. I'm still going to try to do as much as I can, right up until they cut on me, and then probably I won't be doing shit. But
rehab.
We got a lot. We got a pretty good group that's been coming out every month out the house here to have play some games, train on some.
Well,
stuff.
I see your pictures and stuff. You're updating on Instagram, of your property.
Yep.
What you're taking care of. You got some barriers you're putting up. You put some pallets or some lumber around a couple trees, and then wrap a tarp around it, and.
That's the old tarps that were all over the place. They're all 3 and 5 mil tarps, which they're crap. But if you fold over a 3 mil tarp, then it becomes a 6 mil tarp. And I put a double layer of those.
Yep.
And now it becomes a pretty good barrier. So I double wrapped and triple wrapped couple of spots, and I think the one side has 4 tarps on it that it's going to pull the most fire from. I got four layers of tarp there, so they're like 3 or 5. I'm not quite sure. They might be 5. So if there's 3 layers of 5, that's like a 15 mil tarp. They're old, so maybe they're like 10 or 8 or something like that. But I've got a guy that gets all this lumber that the windows are encased. He works at a glass factory.
Oh yeah.
And when they ship out the windows and the glass, they usually put this wood on them, and then they ship back a big pallet of the wood. Yep. Well, most of the time it's all beat up and scrapped and cut off and whatever else.
Right.
And instead of undoing the nails or stuff, they just cut off like the 4 inches or whatever. So all these 2x6s are 7'8", all of them.
Yep.
And he brings me these beautiful looking 2x6s that are 7'8", and I'm like, that's fine by me. It's free lumber. He brings me 1x5s. Some staples in them, and I'm like, I got stuff for doors. I got stuff for whatever I want to make. Then I got the 2x6s, and they frame them out.
1x5s are great for like if you want to put up like a border around like tarp or something. Like you nail it through there, and it'll hold it up there really good. Dude, that is when I saw your picture of all that lumber sitting in your shed or whatever, I was like, dude, that's expensive. But that's a great way, because I used to work in a window place years ago before we moved to South Carolina, and they did the same thing. And me and some of the maintenance guys would go out, and they'd ask us to move some of this wood out of in we were throwing it in dumpsters, and then it would fill up. We finally had some guys come out like, hey, if you're not using this, can we take it? Yes, take it, please.
On the wood itself, where they put the glass windows on, the finished windows, they usually would like put a double 2x6 piece with some like this heavy, thick cardboard stuff on it, so the window would sit on that, and then they'd strap it down. Well, all these 7'8", the one side they cut off, but they left the other double 2x4, triple 2x6, whatever, on the one side. I just pry them off, throw them in a cart. We burn them in the fire pit. They burn like a son of a bitch, and all I got to do is clean the nails up at the end of the year and get them out of the way. But I said I have a cart full of those cut off pieces of 2x6 and 2x4 and 1x5 pieces that they have screwed onto the boards or nailed on. I must have 2 5-gallon buckets full of nails, and they're not the actual, Eric. They're not the actual like nail-in nails. They're got the like flat or little piece head on it. They fire out of a stud gun. Right. So they go pop, pop, pop. They got like an air-fired gun to put them in. So you can't really use them for anything. Every once in a while, they'll use regular nails. But then you'll see the framework. Sometimes the frameworks, they'll have the glue nails. The nails that when you pull them out, it's like pulling teeth. They got this like yellow crap on them. And you drive them into something, and you do not get them out.
No, you don't get them out, man. Well, those are what you're supposed to use if you're using nails on your deck.
Yep.
So decking nails, they're the same way, so that they don't pull out. They have like grooves cut on them. They have they're coated in something.
Yeah, because I have I swear half a bucket of those. Most of those I try to straighten them up, and sometimes I use them. And what I found that after 13 years of nailing stuff to trees or screwing stuff to trees, I have a tendency to kill trees if I put too many screws and nails into them.
Yeah. I think there's a limit, right? Like how far you're supposed to nail in?
Yeah, well, technically you shouldn't be putting anything in trees anymore. But anyway,
I know.
I've been putting collars on trees. I actually take the 2x6 or 2x4, and I make it the width of the tree, and then the width of the tree this way. Then I make it a little bit longer so I can put little pieces on it to level it up. And then that's tight on a tree, and then I put a piece screwed fast to the collar all the way to the ground so it won't fall down. So then I can screw to that, and the tree is holding it solid, but I'm not affixing it to the tree.
Yeah, exactly. So
all the new buildings, the helicopter we built, the comms building we built, a couple of the barricades that I did, all have collars on them. I do not screw fast to the trees anymore.
Good for you. Yeah,
and I think that's going to be, now, granted, some of the old, there's a couple of big old pine trees I got out in the woods that are about yay big around, like 4 or 5 feet across.
Woo!
They have a screw in them, and it's growed right over the fast, and the wire's sticking out. And I'm like, that ain't gonna hurt that tree no bit.
No,
I ain't messing
that's what I'm
around
saying.
with that.
There's some numbers you can figure out, like how wide the tree trunk is, or whatever, how thick it is to how far you can go in. Because I remember my dad taught me that kind of stuff when I was growing up, because I used to go squirrel hunting. We'd come back and I didn't have we would nail the squirrel upside down to clean it. We'd nail it onto the tree, and we had this big tree, and he's like, yeah, we only pound it in this far.
Right.
So you don't penetrate the core of the tree, won't kill it. And anyway, he's teaching me all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's a way you can look it up. But yeah, there is how you can go in a certain length or depth into the tree without hurting it. But that big ass tree, I've gone to some of these job sites where people who work on their backyards, like the little shed or garage or whatever is in the back, and trees, grow up next to it. And they'll have like an old clothesline, right? Where they used to hang clothes and dry them in their backyard.
It growed into it?
Oh yeah. Totally growed around it. Yep.
Well, the big thing that my dad used to have cows. This is like, his grandfather had cows. My dad had cows, got rid of them. So there was barbed wire in certain areas on the field. And one of the trees that I found there, the bad thing they used to do, and I don't know if this was just my grandfather or in general, they used to, instead of taking the barbed wire and stapling it to the tree, cheap way, take the barbed wire to the tree, go around the tree, and keep going.
And keep going.
And then the tree would grow around it, or it would kill the tree, either way. Most of these, like I cut a tree off the other day, and I'm like, I saw sparks flying. I'm like, what the hell was that? Here there's barbed wire in the middle of the tree that I'm cutting.
Yeah. And
there is quite a few trees that I have fence hooked to, like we put up a 7-foot privacy fence, so there's no chance of anybody getting shot in case they're walking in that area. Although there's nobody straight behind me, and there's nobody to the left of me. There is a house that's way over to the right, but I'm like, we're playing up above the house, so it's not really shooting toward anybody, but just in case anybody's walking their dog or something. So I got the privacy fence up, and the problem that I did is when I was running it, I would put screw eyes into the trees, and I would run the wire that I would put the fence on.
Yeah.
Well, some of the big ash trees, they were okay, but some of the old, and the maple trees, they're hardy. You could just put all kind of shit in them and they just stay. But some of the pine trees that I hooked to, it killed them. Whether I was putting in, and because I was putting not a carabiner, a thing to tighten it up, a turnbuckle on them to tighten the wile. I had to put like a 4-inch lag screw or screw eye in there. So I was putting 2 in the tree, which probably was not good for the tree, and I was tightening the wire up. So I'm looking around the property on where the fence is, and I saw a tree the other day had just fallen right over. It was dead. The top broke off, and then the bottom broke off, and it took the fence with it. So I'm like, I ain't gonna put no more screws in these trees here. I got to figure a way, and I'm gonna go with a collar thing again around any trees that I use. So that if I put the collar on, then I can put the screw eye into it and just tighten it up with the turnbuckle again. But anything that's on a tree now, it's going to be on a tree. So I'm going to have to finagle with that and see if that down the years is going to start messing with it.
When we have a big tree in our backyard, straight back, so it's pretty big. It's probably 3 or 4 feet in diameter at the base of the trunk, and I want to put I'm starting to build like a little playground for the grandkids back here. So one of the things I want to do is that they love is the zip line.
Oh, okay.
A zip line. So now I want to do a tree house too. So I'm going to do something like that by that tree, like kind of build it up around there. But I'm the same way. I want to do this zip line down by the, going down towards the street, because our backyard goes down, downhill that way, right? The way it's graded away from the house. So I'm like, I can't attach it to the tree because it'll you know, like that. You have to put it in so far to make the zip line tight.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get a 6x6. So I'm going to get two 6x6s, cement them into the ground, and then do it with that, instead of a,
Here's an idea. Just
yeah,
watch me out. Feel me out on this one.
yeah,
Like, I don't know how much a double 2x6 would take, but you could build even like if the tree is 4 foot across, you could buy
yeah.
a double 2x6, put it together,
Right.
and make a collar around the tree so it won't slide down.
Okay.
And then put, not only just screw the boards fast, but put those angle brackets on the corners so it doesn't pull. And then when you attach your zip line, you take it and you pull, you hook it. Like, say you have a screw eye or whatever, you have to take it so it goes around the back, so it's pulling against the back of the tree and the front of the tree
I
on
got
the
you.
collar.
Yeah.
And the double, if you get a double 2x6 and you put like a screw eye with a nut and a bolt on the back, okay, and then, or even something, and then you can take and reinforce back.
Right.
What you want to do is have it pull from the back of the tree, even though the screw eyes are on the front. But if you got enough of that collar, and for how heavy the kids will weigh on the zip line,
yeah, they're 30
although
pounds,
if like somebody
40
like Colton goes driving down on you, you want him to hold him. You want him
This
to
is
hold it too.
not for adults. This is for little kids only, because the kit you buy, you can buy one for kids. You can buy one that's that holds like 250 pounds. Big difference in price. Okay, and I'm not trying to spend a ton. This is for little kids. The adults want to go do something like that, they can just find somewhere else to go. They go to one of these trampoline places around here or something.
Are you going to start them like from the ground and just zip line, or are they going to be up on a platform or something and zip line
on a platform? Mm-hmm.
So technically, probably coming off like a 4x4 cemented in the ground with some way to like collar it around the tree so the tree is holding it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even if you put 4 foot in the ground and it's got like maybe 8 feet, or maybe you get like a 14-foot 4x4 or something like that, you put 4 or 5 feet in the ground, you're still going to have a lot up above and it's going to be bending out. But if you have a way to collar it to the tree, then the tree is helping to hold it a little bit, and then the zip line will stay taut.
Right. That's what I need. Yeah, that's
There's
a good
something
idea.
to do.
Right.
That's my buddy, when we're looking at stuff to build it, like we're looking at a new area, and he said to me, yeah, there's 2 trees there we can collar. He's thinking in that mode now too, because we don't want to put anything on a tree.
Yeah, see, I never thought of that until you started talking about putting collars on those trees. It's such a good idea.
The only problem you got, though, Eric, is if you build it and years go by, the tree still grows.
Yeah.
So if your collar's tight, it might expand out. Now, I have a collar on this one tree in one spot, and it's been on this tree for got to be about 3-4 years now.
Okay.
And it actually expanded on the side to the point where the 2x4 or 2x6 ripped through the screws. So I got to actually put a piece on and screw it back on there so it like stays together still. But the tree grew and pushed it out a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take pictures of my backyard from where I'm standing on the deck, and I'm gonna send it to you, and maybe you can give me some ideas. I'm gonna tell you, I'm good with my hands. I'm good with building stuff. I'm horrible with design. Like looking at this plot of land and going, oh, this would be good here. I'm horrible at it. Like I've tried drawing it on paper. I'm not good at it. I don't have, my brain doesn't work that way. Like
where do you want the kids to end up when they're finally like coming off it?
So
land in a sand pit or something like that?
Well, it was just going to be open, right? It was just going to be nothing. Like I was going to build an H, like you would for a swing set. So, and then have the zip line end in the middle so that they don't hit anything, right? So they just kind of swing at the end there, because it's one of these zip line kits or whatever that it's a round plastic seat, right? And the kids and the big thick rope that goes in between, and they just sit on it. and then ride it down, and then it kind of, and it swings, and then you can just get off at the end. But I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. I have all this, fairly big amount of land back here as far as for little kids, and I have extra lumber and stuff from like different job sites, and I have the tools to do it. I just don't know what to do. So I built this little platform to start out. And I built the swing set out of these 6x6s that we had left over. I built a little balance beam for them and then I was going to do the zip line. I need to do a slide. I want to build a big platform for the slide. And the slide thing I'm thinking about by the tree, but the tree drops all those spike balls.
Oh,
so
chestnut, or is that what is that called?
Or no, this one does. No, this one. I'm sorry, no, that one doesn't. This one has the big acorns, like the really big,
like the walnuts.
Yeah, kind of like walnuts.
Okay.
But they're like the real big bright green, oblong shaped.
So it's acorns. Like an oak tree, like oak acorns. Yeah.
Yeah. So this it's huge. This tree's giant. But so I don't know. I'm just having a hard time coming up with where I want to place some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea. I have ideas for what to do. Like, we want to stay away from the sand pit stuff because we had sand back here. It's so fucking messy. We did like 3-4 summers ago. We did by the pool. We had the above ground pool. And I had sand over here, for the kids to play in. Bro, I think we spent half the summer just trying to clean sand out of the house. Okay, it was in our washer. It was like living in a beach house. It was so bad in the pool, like everywhere. So we got rid of that. But so yeah, I really just want to make it like a really cool playground out here for them to climb around, stuff to climb on and stuff. But I'm not good at it. Just doesn't flow right, when I come up with ideas.
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of it is experimentation with me when I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and two of the things is that a lot of times I'll start a project and run out of lumber or run out of money to pay for things. Like I started a helicopter project and I was trying to build a Blackhawk, big, long, 22 feet thing. So I made the nose and I made the 8-foot body and I was going to make like a cone-shaped tail. And I'm like looking at the lumber and I'm like, I don't have enough for the whole thing. So I'll just make the tail here. So it looks like a Blackhawk so far and then a short tail. So I'm like, looks like you're missing like 10, 15 feet in the middle there. And I'm like, well, I said, if I ever get money, I'll expand it out again. Which the one guy said, yeah, why do you have to do that? It looks cool the way it is. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you too, like running out of the hardware. So, fasteners, screws, and like those things are expensive now. Everything has gone up. Speaking of, this thing, remember, I looked this up, right?
Yeah.
So it is, when I bought this a year and a half ago, $35, or it was $34 and some change.
Was it like 50 now?
Yep, it's 50. And the good thing, I guess, is the filter stayed the same. It's $25. So, but the filter does 75 gallons of filtering. So anyway, but yeah, all this stuff has gone up. When I went, we started doing stuff on the house, and I have all this extra lumber, and I have the tools, but I'd run out of screws, run out of the kind of hardware that I need.
My wife's like, well, when I'm working.
I'm like, well, she's like, well, do you want to do this, and this? I'm like, I would love to do all this stuff, but I need to go buy more boxes of screws and this and that. And she's like, well, how much can they be? And I show her, and she's like, oh my God. Like some of this stuff, especially if you're doing stuff outside, you got to get the treated, it's, yeah.
Oh, the treated stuff, like I was buying, like I wanted to get some treated lumber for the bottom of certain things.
Yeah.
And my one buddy said to me, he said, you built that building right there in 2008 and we're tearing it down this year. He said, I think you can put regular lumber on it and get 10 years out of it. That should be funny.
Right. And what's weird too? That treated lumber is you can't use galvanized. You got to use the special treated decking screws or whatever kind of hardware, nails and stuff for it, because galvanized interacts with has a reaction with the
Yeah.
chemical they use for the treatment. So it rusts out and they'll break and they cause all this stain on your.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if the water runs a little bit from it, it'll run in a pattern, and then you'll end up with this like reddish pattern on whatever. Yeah, I'm like. So hey, I wanted to show you something really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is an example. Can you see it?
Yep.
Of the collars. I don't know if you can see the little hand moving around.
Yeah.
This is the collars I make. And if you see this one on the right here, I have a board just pushed in here and a board pushed in the front.
To tighten it up.
You can't see it. Maybe you can see it a little bit if I zoom it in a little bit more. Let's see. The 2x6 is actually running down in front of the tree. You can see part of it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Right
I can see it behind it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this one is way over here. But that's an example of what I'm talking about when I say you put a collar on a tree without any screws into the tree. These are pine trees. These are green and growing and everything like that. And
right.
I don't
and they're still kind of small.
Yeah, I don't want these to go to hell in a handbasket, you know?
For sure. Well, especially when it's something as simple as, coming up with an idea like that, as opposed to, we'll just screw a couple screws into this tree,
Another thing that I found that really was economical, here, I'll do this one too, is use tarps. Now, this particular thing, there actually is a 2x6, and it's right up here in this top. It goes across to this ash tree. Yeah. That's actually lag bolted to the tree. That was one of those things that I did a while ago.
From before, yeah.
Yeah, but this used to be a wall all the way across here that just broke down. And I'm like, do I want to build another wall there? Do I want to hook it to it? And I'm like, there's already a tarp line, if you can see. I'll zoom it in a little bit. There's already a tarp line going across the top here.
Oh, yeah.
Between these wooden frames.
Right.
So I just hooked the tarp up there, and I cut a window into it. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
And I put gaffing tape around the outside so it doesn't rip. And I said, there you go, it's a wall.
Right.
And it cost me all of like $15 for the tarp.
Well, that's the great thing about, that's smart, dude. That's the great thing about, setting up for BBs as opposed to paintballs is they're so light that, they're traveling fast, but they can punch through some cheap tarp, like you said, but you could build these walls and you really just need concealment for a lot of this stuff.
Well, this particular tarp is a 10 mil tarp, and I found that 8 is the minimum, and it's questionable. But if you go 9 or 10 or higher mil tarp, it'll stop the BB. It sounds like a friggin' rifle shot when it hits there. If you get a BB close enough. But I'm like, I'm building these buildings like in an 8-foot frame, framed out with a brace on 4 foot and 2 foot. So in case somebody slides against it, they're hitting something solid, but it is all tarp. And then
that's good.
Because it's at the 4 foot, I cut the 1x2 window, 2 foot long by 1 foot high. I frame around the outside, staple the tarp to it, and cut it out. And I'm like, it's solid. You can see all the BB marks on the wood on the outside, and on the tarps a little bit. That gets pepper in it a little bit. But I said, it's fantastic for stopping stuff. You don't have to worry about. What did I do there? I clicked on something. You still there?
Yeah, you're good on my end. Okay,
it came back. My screen just went like this and come back. I don't know what I clicked on. Anyway, I said, it's. I've been doing that with all of the buildings, and not this week, but the week after, we are tearing down the last building that I built in 2008 on Saturday. Shit. And I built
2008.
And I built a tower in 2012, and that's coming down too because the frame on the bottoms. Although we have guidelines to it, to the trees to stop it from moving and shaking and whatever, and it is up 12 feet.
Okay.
The bottom is getting bad on it. It's broke in a couple of spots, and one of the guidelines broke, and I didn't trust it, so I marked it off so people wouldn't go in it. but that's coming down. So that was from 2012. So that's 11 years old too.
That's
so
crazy. Yeah.
So that one in 2008, it was an 8-foot building. I cut the one wall off. I put a set of steps in it. I put a framework on it. I put a ladder on the one side. I reinforced the one wall. It's like you're taking the old junky vehicle and you just keep adding parts to it. And after a while, it's like, there's just so much wrong with this. And I'm like, It's solid. The floor in one spot broke through. And I'm like, yeah, the steps were made out of treated, so they're solid, but the ladder was made out of treated, so that's solid. And I said, that's the only thing that's solid on it. The plywood's starting to get a little flaky. The floors, and I make all my floors with an 1.5-inch gap.
Gotcha.
Whatever I use. 2x4s, 2x6s, whatever. And I put an 1.5-inch gap. That way you drop a mag, it goes right through to the ground. So it's 4 feet off the ground. They call it the perch because you can get to 2 spots. And you're 4 feet off the ground, which gets you just enough view over the 8-foot buildings to, shoot at people.
Right. Everybody
liked it, and they said, oh, you're going to build another one? And I'm like, nope, not building it. That's it. So right now we only have I have a sniper nest out in the woods for a single person as a set of steps up to it, and it's got a little, hideaway with tarps up 3 feet all the way around. So somebody could sit and shoot over them with the camo net over you. But once you're in there and they know you're in there, you're done. But guys get in there, they have a good time. And there's only one other thing. I have a sniper. They call it the sniper building. It's an 8x16 building with 2 doors, one in the front, one in the back, a couple of windows. And it's got a second floor with a ladder.
Oh,
and
nice.
I actually never had a weight limitation because I double 2x4'd the floor. And then I double braced the walls going up there. So the floor is solid. And I actually last year made it a 2-person limit. The maximum persons can go up there is 2 people. And I actually have a hatch that when you go up there, you got to shut the hatch. I had one guy back up and almost fall down through the hatch. So I put a hatch on it. So you got to close it. But that was built in 2016.
Okay.
And it's still going strong.
Nice.
I said, now that one's one of those reinforced buildings that I never want to get rid of unless something absolutely drastic happens.
Right.
Then I'll get rid of the top floor and say nobody can go up on the top floor. And when that finally gets bad and I got to knock it down, I'll say, well, let's knock it down. We'll make a tarp building out of it. Now, there is one building. And I actually numbered the buildings. There's a new numbering system going from 1 to 12. I have 12 new buildings on the field. We're getting rid of that perch, which would have been the 13th building, so we're getting rid of that. But for building 7 is supposed to be the what I call old building 12 is there. Okay. And it's an 8x16 building. And I added a 4-foot section on the backside, added tarps to it. So it's now a 12x16 building.
Yeah.
It is one of the only buildings on the field back in 2010 that I made out of all treated 2x6s and 2x4s.
Oh, okay.
So it's still solid. The bottom of the plywood I put on it, the OSD plywood, is sort of rotten a little bit in spots. Yeah. And the one spot where the plywood was bad, I ripped off and I put tarps on it. So the actual framework's solid, but the plywood's starting to go bad. So I've been replacing tarps. And it actually has a door on either end.
Yeah.
Okay. And it has 2 doors on the front. There's nothing on the back, but it has 2 doors on the front. And the door on this side rotted right off. So I took the door off. And they love it that there's no door on that side for some reason. I said, I'll put a door back on it. No, leave it go. I like it that way.
Yeah.
And I have tarp lines between all the buildings in octagons.
Oh, shit.
So that when you can pull tarps and make a new configuration on the field. And this I'll tell you, it is fantastic. And I think I have a picture of this.
Don, that sounds cool as fuck because that's one thing that, I've heard where people they get bored with the same field, the same layout. Because, the veterans know that go to that field all the time. They know the map. And the game gets too easy.
Yeah, they say, go this way, go this way, go this way, and you can get to where you got to go. And
Right.
I'm a big Vizio guy. I use Vizio a lot. So you can save that as a JPEG instead of the drawing. Here, let me get you share the screen again. See, I got it on pop-out mode, and I can't share the screen. So what's going on with this? Let's cancel that. And cancel that. And it's like on the screen like 12 times. Let's see. Share the screen.
Really?
Yeah, I kept hitting share the screen. It wasn't coming up.
Oh.
There. Can you
Oh,
see that? Now, this is a look at our compound as it is now. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see my arrow. Can you see my arrow moving on here?
Yeah,
Probably
I can see
not.
it. Mm-hmm.
Down the bottom left, this red building is the sniper building I'm talking about. There's some barriers off to the one side and a barrier on this side. There's a door on the front, door on the back, but it's also a second story, so it's 2 stories.
Gotcha.
But all of these lines you see here are tarp lines with tarps on them.
What?
Oh, yep. Now
Whoa.
I don't have any tarp lines like except like to these octagons. Now this octagon on the upper right and this octagon on the lower left,
Yeah,
are what we put props into, and then we make it so you can only go in a certain way. For example, on this lower octagon, we leave the tarp off coming from the woods, and we leave the tarps off coming from this way, but the tarps are all the way around except these 2 entrances. And the only way to get in it is from one side or the other, and the bomb is in the middle. So one team's trying to get in one way, one team's trying to get in the other way, or whatever, vice versa.
right.
Or sometimes we'll leave all the short areas, all the 8-foot areas open, and put the 10-foot areas, which are the outsides of the octagon, open. So you have 4 ways into the octagon, so you could get shot anywhere you're going. And sometimes I like to change it up, and instead of putting the tarp on the front of the octagon, I put the tarp on the back. So you run in, and some guy could be inside this little 8-foot U-shaped section, and he could shoot you. And the thing of it is, all these tarps, I have the guys take them up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And what they do then is when they start a compound game, or even if they do a full field match or whatever, they set up the tarps how they want to set them up.
Yeah.
Now, you see this building 11 back here on the right?
Mm-hmm.
That perch is actually in this open area right here, which we're going to get rid of.
Okay.
Now, it's hard to visualize this, but there's this platform right here called the deck, I call it. It's only 3 feet off the ground.
Okay.
But when you're on that 3 feet on top of that, it is the same elevation as the sniper building top deck.
Oh, okay, because the land.
Yeah, the land goes slightly up the hill. There's a slight elevation. So when you're on the deck and you're on top of that, you could shoot somebody that would be on top of the sniper building and get them.
Right.
And we actually have flagpoles, or what I call cone poles. I'm going to get off the share here.
That's cool, man. You drew all that out on what'd you use?
Harps and...
No, what'd you use to draw that?
Vizio.
Okay.
So what we have is cone ports. I have a half-inch piece of pipe cut about 8 inches long.
Yeah.
I screw it fast to the corners of the buildings at an angle, and I put these cones on them. We have yellow, green, blue, and red. And like we'll make one team red, one team blue, and we'll put the cones on the buildings. I got to come get them. Or we'll put and say, oh, the cones are in your spawn. You got to take the cone and put it on building 6. And they got to put it on the 4 posts. To get the point, they got to have 4 cones on the building.
Oh, shit.
So, and then I will put it in there that like, oh, there's yellow cones in building, let's say 8. You got to take them, but you got to put your cone on the building to be able to take one.
Right.
No, you can make various games. So I bought the 4 20 packs of cones. The yellow, the green, the red, and the blue. And we actually make a full field game where they're out in the woods and they got to bring the cones from their spawns out in the woods all the way into the compound to a building I designate with the posts on it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have it to the point that now if you look at the screen, well, you can't see the screen. It's already off. But the center of the field is not the two buildings.
Yeah.
It's actually the two outriggers is the center of the field. Each building is an 8x8 square.
Okay.
Off each flat area is an 8-foot outrigger with either a solid or 4-foot wall. If it's a doorway, it's a solid 8-foot wall. If it's a window, it's a 4-foot wall. So if you have windows on the top and the bottom, you got 4-foot walls. If you got doors on the opposite sides, those are 8-foot walls. This way you can come out of the building and not get have a chance to get out of the building and not get shot.
Right.
So we laid all this stuff out. I think I told you one time, we had 22 buildings at one time in that little area. It was like a Benghazi type thing where you're going around little friggin' corners, and I'm like, it was way tight. Everybody liked it, but I really didn't like that because I'm like, you couldn't move anything. Everything was solid. It was wood, and you were like, once you learn the pattern, you know how to get to the one spot.
Yeah.
I'll be playing as a ref for a game one day, and I just walked over and drew a tarp and clipped it on, and the guys are like, what the fuck is this? Can't get through. Got to run back the other way. And what's nice about it, they're on carabiners on the tarp line.
Yeah.
And the one side is solid, and the other side has two carabiners. So you pull it over, clip it, it's solid. Oh, and I say to the guys, if you can see on the side, that's a viewport. It's not a shoot port. I said, you see a guy there, don't put your gun and try to shoot through it. Go around the building and shoot him. He know he's there. I said, you can't shoot through them. And any tarps, you can't throw a grenade over because you don't know where the guy is on the other side.
It's like
you don't want
fire.
to. You don't want to bonk somebody in the head with it. And these new like Bang 22s are like metal or that friggin' it's I want to say Zaxxon. Maybe that's not it. That's a solid chunk of metal. And even getting hit with like some of them Thunder Bs, you get hit with the metal. And two of our guys don't wear helmets. They just wear like a cap. And one guy just wears a balaclava wrapped around his head. Yeah. I said, I don't want to see somebody get wrapped. I said, the only way to throw a grenade is through a window, open a door, throw it in, over a 4-foot wall or in an open area. I said, it's the only way you can throw a grenade, and it's got to be underhand. We haven't had an accident in so long, We actually switched the field to all semi because 99% of the places we go to, events, open plays, are semi only. And as far as like somebody comes there with an LMG and they want to shoot full auto, I'm like, everybody's got to agree to it. If one person doesn't agree to it, we don't do it. And that pisses people off. But I'm like, I'm sorry, that ain't happening. I'm sort of hard ass about the guys coming out to the house. If I said to the one guy, I said, hey, this is my property. I'm allowing you guys to play airsoft, so it's my rules that go, not what you do on other fields.
Right.
But I did have a guy tell me that. He said, I use this all the time on other fields. Well, I can't use it here. It's too hot. Because I get that somebody will go there and they'll bring a gun and they're shooting at it. And I have a mag with 3.0s in it. And I chrono with 3.0 with joules, and you have to chrono under 1.86 joules, which is 400 with 2.5s.
Gotcha.
So this guy is shooting, and with the mag with 3.0s, and he's shooting like 195. I said, yeah, it's too hot.
Yeah.
He said, I'll get heavier BBs. I said, that won't matter. It's still shooting over. And then I go through the explanation track. Well, I use this gun all over the place. And I'm like, well, I don't know how you use it all over the place. Can't use it. And I named like 4 fields. And he didn't say that. And he walked away. And I'm like, and I always say to these guys, this is my rule set. It's been this way for like 2008 on. It's changed slightly. And I keep adding rules for safety and stuff like this. And I'm like, I don't want to come off as a hard ass, but come on, guys. The rules have been the rules for a long time. And if you don't know that, like, dude.
Especially the basics, like the number one safety one is, besides the, your iPro or whatever, is how hot your gun is shooting. Because I remember when we started our channel, it might have been you, actually, that commented one of our early videos, probably in the first 6 months we had our channel that we were doing videos. Was one of the unboxings we did a review on one of the guns, or maybe it was one that It was something they got and they upgraded. They were upgrading whatever, and Johnny, I think, was talking about wanted to shoot hotter and like higher and higher. It was like it was already shooting like four something,
Yeah.
okay, with 2.0. Like 410 or something. And we're like, oh yeah, this is good. This is what he wants to make. And I think it was you that commented saying like, no, that's a limit, not like a starting point or something like
It's a
that.
limit, not a goal.
Yeah, right. And I was like, I know.
I tell
that
these guys
time,
all the time. You
I
can't.
didn't understand that until I got shot in the hand with 380 FPS,
Yep.
and I was like, "Oh shit, that okay." So 400 and over, man, that could freaking hurt, bro.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm telling these guys, I said, like my squad leader, he was a big proponent about like got to get the gun right to the line. If the thing is 1.86 joules, he's shooting 1.85 joules. And I said that should not be what you want to do. I said you should always be trying to get under FPS. I said FPS does not matter. I had a TM BSR 10, one of the first ones to come out. That shot 280 with 2.0s.
Okay.
Think about that, 280 with 2.0s. But
Yeah.
you could shoot one of those 2.0 BBs, and that son of a bitch would just fly out there forever.
Yeah,
Because
just
they had fantastic hop-ups and everything like that.
Mm.
And you could put a little heavier BB in it, but then it would be shooting like 200 FPS. And it's like, people would be like, what, something hit me? They couldn't feel it. That was the only bad thing about it. But you could reach way the hell out of there with them.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 on the next episode of Trifecta Airsoft Podcast, the fastest growing airsoft podcast out there.